In this video, we'll be evaluating trig functions with a calculator, specifically the Casio FX 9860 G2. The most important thing to do first is to make sure that your calculator is set in the correct mode, either degrees or radians. This can be accomplished by hitting the Shift button and then the menu button. And then scroll down to where you see it says angle, and then hit either F1 or F2 for degrees or radians. For these problems, we'll want to use radians, so go ahead and hit F2. In the first problem, we have the cosecant of pi over 8. Now notice that there are no buttons on the calculator for inverse trig functions. In other words, there's no button for cosecant, secant, or cotangent. However, we know from our study of inverse functions that the cosecant is equal to 1 over the sine. So the cosecant of pi over 8 can be rewritten as 1 over the sine of pi over 8. Now we can enter our function into our calculator. We'll first hit the 1 button, then the division button, then the sine, and then open parenthesis. The reason we're doing open parentheses is because you always want to make sure that your argument is within the parentheses. The argument is to the left of the trig function, the right of the trig functions where I'm drawing the brackets. On the next problem, 2 pi over 3 is our argument. On the last problem, 1.5 is our argument. So back to the first problem. After you've hit the open parenthesis, you'll next need to create the pi sign. You can do that by hitting Shift and then the EXP button. Finally, the division button and 8, close the parenthesis, and execute. You should end up with 2.6131 and some other decimal numbers. Okay, the next problem is sine of 2 pi over 3. Hit the sine button, then open parenthesis, then the number 2. Create the pi character by hitting Shift EXP, then divide, number 3, close parenthesis, execute. You should end up with 0.8660 rounded. And finally, we have the cotangent of 1.5. We can rewrite that as 1 over the tangent of 1.5. And entering that into our calculator, we'll enter 1, then the division button, the tangent of 1, the decimal button, 5, execute. And you should get 0.0709 rounded.